What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. We're talking all the new releases that I saw in theaters and I guess on streaming in August. Let me know if I missed a movie. I'm sure I did, but I saw 14. Again, why did I do that? Plenty of movies on this list that I didn't review. Let me know your favorites of August. And are you looking forward to September? Would you like to see an Oscar predictions video? That's coming soon.
Liar! So, everybody's dead. How about we start at the beginning?
All right, blink twice. Zoe Kravitz is our director. Channing Tatum is our star. I knew nothing about this. All I knew is that Gambit was taking pictures of people on an island. Weirdo.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
This is actually one of those films that kind of subverted my expectations. I've heard a lot of people were bored by the first act. I didn't feel that way. I liked the uncomfortable buildup. They're having fun. They're having a good time on this island with each other. A lot of crazy stars in here, one of the weirdest casts of the year, but in a good way. That being said, I don't know if the ideas that they were going for here, specifically Kravitz, were fully realized by the end because of the themes that we're dealing with, but also because of one plot point that shoehorned in the third act, and I'm like, if we would have not done that, then maybe it would have made more sense. I don't know how all of this connects as clearly as you want it to. That being said, it's a swing, not necessarily a swing and a miss. I like when directors swing like this. Again, she's trying to make you feel uncomfortable. So the way things are shot in the first two acts aren't how they would conventionally be shot if it wasn't something that was leading to this kind of third act. And I really like that, man. Visually, looked awesome. Reminded me of my experience with Maxine earlier this year. I'm just like, it just looks so cinematic. Not even the cinematography, but just the camera placement, the shot selection, the characters. Yeah, I mean, most of them are a bunch of jerks, but you have those that you're rooting for once you start uncovering things. And I was on board. Christian Slater, Haley Joel Osment, Simon Rex, Adria Arjona, and of course Naomi Ackie, who steals the show. Obviously, she's the main character. Channing Tatum gets a monologue for the ages, one that's going to be memeable for sure. He's been in a lot of memes this year. The movie's good. Didn't quite land at the end, but I really like how they built us up and how they handle what we're dealing with. That being said, I'm putting Blink Twice on the good tier. I love Spongebob. The first 5 to 6 seasons are amazing. I mean, truly spectacular. We're going back and watching old episodes right now. One, because, we have a daughter. That's our excuse. No, I just really want to watch them. Because a lot of them have things in there that I didn't pick up on as a kid. Now I'm watching them like, oh, that's what SpongeBob meant, you bastards. It's great, man. The first 5 to 6 seasons, and even some moments in like season 7, 1 or 2 episodes in season 8. But as we have progressed, the show has dumbed down, and it is no longer what it used to be. There's a reason why when Nickelodeon plays clips of SpongeBob, they're not playing anything from the new stuff. Maybe a couple of things here and there. Even the Best Day Ever special was fine. What it has become, it's boring, it's lazy, it's repetitive. Every time I watch an episode, I'm like, maybe there have been a few where they've tried to recapture the magic, but they just haven't done. All of that being said, they really tried to shoehorn things into this Sandy Cheeks movie that is pure nostalgia, but it's like rage bait nostalgia.
You what?
It's like they're throwing the My Leg guy in there just for the sake of doing it. They're putting all of these memeable moments in there because it's just like, we don't care. We're just going to put it in there because we know the kids are going to quote it. And then the story, what Sandy's trying to do here with her family coming in and going on this mission for her. Again, Sandy's a great character, but nothing about this was fun. Nothing about this was entertaining because I'm just rolling my eyes at the dialogue like, what has SpongeBob become, man? That first SpongeBob movie, it is a cinematic classic. It's amazing, and I loved it. This movie sucks. This movie sucks. I should have reviewed it because I genuinely get so mad just thinking about, like, what are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? I'm upset.
I'm upset!
Do you feel my pain? I'm just really upset Don't watch this. Don't show your kids. It is just a shell of what it used to be, and I hope they get back to form, but I don't know if they ever will. The Sandy Cheeks movie goes on the awful tier because this sucks.
How was your journey?
Very pleasant, thank you.
Good.
Gretchen, come say hi.
How about Cuckoo? This movie's Cuckoo. Hunter Schafer is awesome. Our cast is really good, and there's some extremely uncomfortable things happening here and moments that'll just make you sit back and go, oh, I don't like what's going on here. And it's the type of neon movie that you're watching and you're like, I can't look away, even though it's a slow build up and we're trying to guess what's going on exactly. When you finally figure out what's going on, you're still asking yourself, what's going on? How about Dan Stevens just having the time of his life here? They're forced to go to this resort. Well, I mean, the family opts to go to this resort, but Hunter Schafer's character, it's like, I don't really want to be here right now. Why am I here? Something happens to her sister along the way, and then things start to get really weird. Dan Stevens being a big part of that, and I just love the way that this slowly unnerves you and it plays out. And again, it, just like Blink Twice in a different way, it swings for the fences, doesn't always land. Some of the ideas weren't all the way thought out. It leaves you on a cliffhanger in the sense of you still don't entirely know what certain things mean, but the end is super entertaining, and it provides some of the better jump scares genuinely that I've seen all year. After all of this hype for other movies, it's one of the scariest films of the year. Cuckoo, while not one of the scariest films I've ever seen, provides a couple of moments that are terrifying. And that shrill noise, I still can't get that out of my head. And so Cuckoo is a good movie. I enjoyed myself. I'm putting it on the good tier.
Remember, before we get started, whatever it says to you, do not listen to it.
The Deliverance. I just talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat myself very heavily, but yeah. This was crazy, man. Andra Day plays a mother, and granted, it's not the best environment for her kids to start with, and there are things that she's struggling with, and she's not really working with people who are trying to help her here, so it's a boy who cried wolf situation because she's claiming that something's going on in this house, and according to this movie, something is going on in this house. It's a little crazy. There's a spirit. There's some demons, something. You also have Glenn Close, who's the grandmother. Very similar character to Hillbilly Elegy. Different, but similar in the way that she commits to it and handles it and some of the dialogue that she's given. It's just insane. There's a moment towards the end that I believe is going to become a meme. Lee Daniels is a good director. This is not a good horror movie. It's a good movie in the beginning because it explores themes that I believe are genuinely impactful and should be explored in a movie like this, but then it drops off and becomes a cliche, conventional, boring, well, I guess not boring, entertaining but bad horror movie. The CGI is atrocious. That being said, I really liked our build-up, so the way that it just nosedives off of a cliff because it has all of these things that we're dealing with that feel very, real and impactful. And then it just turns into a cliche horror movie. It's a true story based off a true story, but there are rumors that what was going on was made up by the mother. If the movie would have explored that more, is what we are seeing really going on, or is it in her head? I believe he could have had something there. But this just turns into a series of cliches, and it feels like a Netflix movie. And so because of that, unfortunately, that goes on the bad tier.
So why are you here? Are you here for pleasure or pain or...
No, I'm an actress.
Great.
How about Jackpot on Amazon Prime? It's like The Purge, but if it was a comedy. It's got Awkwafina and John Cena and Simu Liu. Now, Awkwafina's character, she wins the jackpot. That's not a spoiler. That's at the beginning of the movie. John Cena's character's trying to protect her, living in this weird world and, being okay with the rules like everybody else. It's like, if they're going to do this, might as well make some money by protecting that person, because if somebody wins the jackpot, everyone else tries to kill them. And as insane as that sounds, it actually kind of works. It's kind of entertaining. The fact that they play this Purge-type future for comedy is interesting. Simu Liu plays a guy that's after Awkwafina. Well, everybody's after Awkwafina, because once you win money, everybody tries to kill you. And then a little montage that they do at the beginning and the surprise kill that we get was fun. I guess it's not a surprise now, but it's the beginning of the movie. Jackpot it is what it is. It's conventional. It's silly, over the top. The script's not the best. Some of the dialogue is just ridiculous. But admittedly, I had a little more fun than I thought I would. For a streaming movie, if you want to put it on as a background watch, it will provide entertainment because some of the bits are funny. Awkwafina's roommates, over the top at times, but funny at times. And so I'm going to put Jackpot on the meh tier, not a jackpot.
Anything is possible.
She's a sophomore, man. It's never gonna happen.
She hasn't met the new me.
Incoming, aka Trying to Be Superbad. Now, this is a film that I just rolled my eyes at and scoffed when I saw the announcement, the trailer, everything about it. I'm like, this is going to be terrible. It's trying its best to be super bad. It's like a modern, funny, haha, R-rated comedy where kids go to a party and they try to... And it is that. And there's a romance. It's sweet enough. It's silly. Characters make dumb decisions in this movie. Yada, yada, yada. You've heard all of these criticisms before. But once again, like Jackpot, it's not terrible. There are a couple of cute moments. Some sweet moments between friends. Some crazy things that are over-the-top ridiculous. But I could see myself, if I was younger, watching this and relating to some of the struggles that these characters are going through, but also some of the outlandish situations that they get themselves in. And while stupid, which, comedies are kind of supposed to be at points, there are some pretty funny moments. And even when it's not funny, there are a couple of moments where I'm like, okay with how they're handling the relationships and the romance. So Incoming surprised me in the fact that it's not terrible. I don't think this is a bad movie for its target audience. You have movies on Netflix that are built for teenagers, and oftentimes they're just so stupid. I'm like, this is going to make, if I had a kid, it would make them dumber. It's dumb. But it's kind of fun, entertaining, not the worst comedy I've ever seen. And so, you know what? Surprisingly, it's trending on Netflix right now. I'm going to put Incoming on the meh tier, next to Jackpot. A surprise.
Hiya, Mikey.
Roxanne Hall. How often is it that you run into your high school sweetheart after 25 long years?
Austin, what about The Union with Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg? Is this a fun movie? Is it silly? Yeah, it's silly. I feel like I keep using the word ridiculous and the words over the top, but when you're dealing with these straight-to-Netflix action movies or straight-to-Netflix comedies, usually they are that, and you got Mark Wahlberg. Hey, everybody, it's me, Mark Wahlberg. Halle Berry's just dragging me into this for some reason. Just dragging me into it. Have no clue why. What? No.
What? No.
Halle Berry, she's Halle Berry. Mark Wahlberg, he's Mark Wahlberg. He's a nobody in this movie, and I think it's fun. I'm like, that Mark Wahlberg's a nobody? Look at him. Bro's jacked. But I guess he's just a super normal person. There were so many things about this film because they're literally dragging him into this agency and saying, all right, you're going to do this mission because you're a nobody, but really because she knows you. It's all about who you know. I wish I knew somebody in a secret agency so they could just randomly drag me into this dangerous and deadly mission. And there's a little bit of a training montage and all these things. J.K. Simmons is in the movie somewhere. Mike Coulter's in this movie. I met him in a bathroom once. There are some things about this that are enjoyable. Again, it's a fun background watch, but it's so conventional. The romance, the dynamic is... The acting's okay. They play themselves. But that dynamic, I just didn't buy it. I just didn't really buy anything about this. The action sequences, one or two fun ones, but then it's just like, I've seen this before. I'm going to turn this off and just go watch John Wick. That's how I was feeling the entire time. And so nothing special about this. It's not good. But again, maybe a background watch if you like these two actors, because that's what it comes down to. You don't care about their characters. You care about, it's Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg. So let's check it out. And the guy from Whiplash. Just kidding. It's J.K. Simmons. Everybody knows who that is. All right, bad tier. I'm losing my mind.
Of characters so real.
With the crayon, anything is possible.
That they step right.
Harold and the purple crayon. Look, this isn't I don't want this to be a hate fest because I feel like it's just constantly a Zachary Levi hate fest. Has he done some weird things? Admittedly, yeah. But I don't know why people hate him to that level on Twitter. I think it's because of his politics, to which I say, Why can't we disagree and not hate people because of politics? That being said, Harold and the Purple Crayon sucks. It just sucks. I wanted to establish that I'm not just hating to hate like a lot of people do. Harold and the Purple Crayon's a bad movie. It's bad. Why is Harold a man? Why is he a man? This is so weird. And what is it about these kids' movies? It's like, oh, we have this huge magical world that we can do anything in, but let's walk around New York. Why are we doing that? Who gives a shit about walking around New York in Harold and the Purple Crayon? It's so stupid. This movie's so dumb. Lil Rel Howery's in it. I don't know why. What is this? It's just not good, man. Nothing about the creativity that is a core and integral part of this character is on display here, other than it's a grown man with a purple crayon and he creates stuff. There's a plane. That was kind of cool. It was bad, guys. It was just really bad. And I felt like I was watching a kid's movie that was made in the early 2000s. I'm just wasting my time with it. It's that lack of creativity like they had. Remember Yogi Bear and Alvin and the Chipmunks 4? The first one was okay, but it's just not good. And so Harold, awful tier. There you go.
Would you look at that? A ladder! Unfortunately, my design doesn't facilitate this type of... How
about Borderlands? Listen to this cast, all right? Kevin Hart, Cate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter, because if you waste a cast on this level, it's a disaster. Now, is Borderlands one of the most disastrous things I've ever seen from a writing standpoint? No. Is it one of the most disastrous things I've ever seen from a visual standpoint? No. But when every aspect of your movie is bad, it kind of becomes a disaster, right? Individually, I can point to these things and say, well, like even Kevin Hart, he's playing Kevin Hart, but he's kind of having a good time. And they're trying to do Guardians, and they're trying to do Dungeons and Dragons. What else can I compare to? They're trying to be good?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
But it's not good. It's just, it's bad. Every aspect is bad. And the plot goes off the rails. Like it starts out, they're forming this team because they have to form this team, but they're trying to defend this little girl from her evil dad. Ooh, he's evil. But it really just becomes a series of weird events, like unlocking this key to the thing. And here's the thing. I don't know anything about Borderlands, the video games, like sort of kind. I've seen friends play it. I've somewhat experienced it. And so I'm not the best guy to ask. Austin, you can't watch the movie without playing the game. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I have a life. So look, video games are awesome, but I can't play every video game to base it on every movie. I can't do that. And so based on my knowledge, this movie sucks. It falls flat. It falls apart. Becomes ridiculous, doesn't have any of the charm of the magic of any team-up movie ever. And what Dungeons & Dragons, what I thought it would be, turned out it was awesome. This, all of my worst fears came to light. And so, Borderlands, you're awful. Take the L, bro. Sit down.
To die. To sleep. To dream.
Let's pivot. We're going to do this is a hard pivot because we just went from something that makes me angry to something that makes me happy. And Sing Sing makes me happy. Sing Sing is a beautiful story. Coleman Domingo's character, along with all of these others who are played by people, for the most part, that have been to prison, are still in prison, inmates that are have tried to better themselves and are bettering themselves by being in this movie, and that's who they're playing in the film, because all of these men, they come together and they're trying to express themselves emotionally by putting on a play in this place that none of them, they want to be there, obviously, but some of them deserve it, some of them do not, some of them are trying to get out, so they're all dealing with something. They have family back home, whatever it may be. Coleman Domingo's performance here is outstanding. And this movie is all about being able to express yourself and get those emotions out there when it comes to art, and how art can help you through the toughest of situations, man. It It's beautiful. And I thought there's one relationship in particular that I was just blown away by. Domingo gets a couple of monologues and some moments here that tells me this guy is going to get nominated for Best Actor. If you want to go watch my review, again, it's not a movie that a lot of people know about, but it's an A24 film. I put my review out there. You know, it's a movie that's struggling to get a wide release for some reason. The release strategy is strange, so please go watch my review. I put a lot of passion into that. It's a wonderful, wonderful film. Genuinely believe this is an awesome movie that moved me in a way that, honestly, I haven't been moved this specific way in 2024 just yet. And because of all of those things, I gotta go Sing Sing on the awesome tier.
You seem like a nice guy. But the real issue is safety.
Willa Fitzgerald, Kyle Gallner, J.T. Mulner, a director who you may want to keep an eye on. Strange Darling is, on its surface, a standard serial killer story that's bloody and violent. It's stylistic, but if you look at it, I mean, I've already seen the movie, so it's easy for me to say this. It is a story that we've seen 1,000 times before, but what allows this movie to stand out and be great, spoiler for my tier ranking, is it's told in an unconventional way. And that unconventional way takes you on this crazy journey. Every twist, every turn, you're like, didn't see that coming, didn't see that coming, didn't see that coming. I said that all throughout the movie, and I'm sitting back at the end of the day going, this was awesome. This was bloody, it was violent, but it was also like strategically unnerving, but it got you to feel like an emotional connection to both of these characters, which was crazy. Never expected that, especially after the opening. In the opening, the first 15 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before. It's cool. It's shot very well, but I've seen this before. But as we move through it, being told in parts, but those parts are being told out of order. And by the time we get to the end and that final scene, I'm like, no, this was... Boy, what an experience. What a riveting experience. One that just knocked my socks off, surprised me, right? Some things about it that I could call out, like moments and lines of dialogue, but I'm not doing that, man. I had too good of a time with this movie. Strange Darling goes on the great tier. It is a great movie.
What's with all the police everywhere? I'm not supposed to tell.
How about Trap? Josh Hartnett is... amazing in this movie. I mean, genuinely amazing. Every smirk, every look at the camera, every nod. He plays the serial killer who's stuck in this concert and he's trying to figure his way out while doing things to people and all of these very conspicuous or inconspicuous things. Now, characters will say and do things that make no sense. This is a fantasy world. It's its own world. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. And I was okay with it. Some of the strategic decisions that M. Night Shyamalan makes, the way the camera moves in this movie, by the way, is awesome. But, you know, I'm seeing people on the internet trying to defend Shyamalan and like, no, this guy is an auteur. How dare you not let him do what he does? And I'm sitting back going, well, yeah, it's not very good dialogue. I mean, I feel as if I could either take one of two routes. I could defend this saying, no, it's the world that M. Night Shyamalan established and let him do his thing, folks. Or... it'd be like, it's just bad writing. And however you feel about the movie is what you're going to think. So all of this is objective. All of it. Because it's either bad writing or it's M. Night Shyamalan writing his own rules. And I'm like, which one is it? If you don't like the movie, you're going to say it's one thing. If you do like the movie, you're going to say it's another. No one's right. You're all wrong. I'm wrong. It just depends on how you feel about it. And I liked it for the first half. I won't lie to you. I was entertained. I was engaged. It's ridiculous, but I enjoyed it. And in the third act, it just falls off. They leave the venue, that's what I'll say, and it becomes something that takes some risks that don't pay off, makes some decisions that are weird, does some things I'm like, how are all of these FBI people not fired? They should all be fired, every one of them. They should all lose their jobs. The irony of that coming out at this point. And so I'm like, I don't know anything about what they're trying to do here. I fell off. But the first half I really, really liked. And so I was entertained by this movie. Even when it gets stupid at the end, I'm still entertained. And so I'm going to put Trap on the okay tier, but I can't sit here and tell you we can't judge Shyamalan because we can.
Are you sure you want to do this?
See that thing? That's my Romulussy. Alien Romulus. What a thrill ride. What a thrill ride. I thoroughly enjoyed myself with this movie. I was in, man. And I think this is one of my favorite Alien movies since the first and the second. Now, that's an easy thing to say because a lot of them, they've not been great. But I was a Prometheus fan. I really was. I like the risks and the decision-making, and I love the fact that Romulus took a lot of Alien lore, but a little bit of Prometheus lore, and sprinkled it in there. And there's some moments in this film, because at the end, I was saying, that was crazy, man. The imagery, one shocking thing to look at that shocked me. And you all know this, jump scares, they don't get me, because you usually see them coming. They're usually cheap. Not the one at the end of this movie. I'm telling you right now, it's one of the best jump scares I've ever seen. It got me. I can't wait to watch this with my wife, because I hope it gets her. I want her to scream. Bloody murder. That's how awesome and fun this was, man. And I love the simplicity of it all. Just put these characters on this ship. No, you don't care about all of them. It's not a knock on Kaylee Spaney. She's amazing in this film, by the way. But just put them on a ship and let them fight aliens. That's what we want. And that's what we get. And there are some sequences that are so cool. And the look to it, the visual effects, it looks like an amazing sci-fi, but it's also one of the best looking horror movies of the year. And so many things that Fede Alvarez added in here that just injected style into this franchise that, frankly, they needed something like that. So I'm going to put the Romulussy on the great tier.
What's the first thing you liked about me?
And finally, squawk. That's the sound a crow makes. Squawk. That's the sound I made walking out of that theater. It was just not good. And it's okay if you had some fun with this. I think that's fine. It's one of those I'm like, yeah, I could see people enjoying this.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
You gotta buy the romance. I did not buy the romance here. Skarsgård is normally great, but he's just kind of bland in this movie. He's the most boring main character I've seen in a long time. And their chemistry, while their chemistry's fine, right? But I'm supposed to buy that they're in love with each other. And all they do, they jump on the bed half naked, they're doing drugs together, they're going to nightclubs together. I'm like, I didn't really get super invested in their relationship. I'm supposed to feel emotional towards them. I'm supposed to feel a connection. And while I get the connection part, I'm like, I don't buy that they're in love. And I buy that they like each other and they want to do it. I don't buy that they're in love. That's not love. And so I just didn't get that. And it's 45 minutes of that. Like, we don't get the crow until like 45 minutes into the movie. And by that point, I was tapped out, man. I was bored. I was so bored. Now, you could see it as like a gothic thing, like a gothic action movie, and he's a hero. But it's like, after I went back and watched the original Crow for the first time, and I was kind of blown away by how much I was enjoying that, and I was connected to that story. You don't even see the romance hardly. They only do it for 15 minutes, then he becomes the Crow, and I'm like, how was I more connected to that than I was to this? And the action, for the most part, again, it's bland. And there's one sequence, the opera, that was great. And I'm like, why did the rest of the movie not do this? This kept it from being the most atrocious thing I've ever seen in my life, but the rest of it is awful. And so I'm just like, I'm sorry, guys. And I hate to be that guy. I hate to be cliche, but this film was so bland. So bland. And that made it awful. So yeah, awful tier.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Before I rank these films, check out our podcast, the Movie Mode Podcast, where we're talking all kinds of things, controversial or not, ranking stuff, and we're going to start having some special guests on, as well as my reviews of all of these films. And if you enjoyed this tier list, you want to drop a like. That tells me you want to see one next month. Hopefully next month is better. At least this one was well-rounded. The Crow is terrible, but honestly, I think the Sandy Cheeks movie is worse. And I think Harold and the Purple Crayon is worse. Then I have The Crow, and Borderlands, while terrible, at least it was somewhat entertaining. On the bad tier, that looks pretty good. The Union, and then the Deliverance, which at least tried to do something and did in the first act. On the meh tier, I'm going to say I enjoyed Incoming a little more than the Jackpot. I think its age group, target age range will enjoy it. On the okay tier, it's Trap. I'm trapped on okay. On the good tier, I'm going to say Cuckoo is a little better than Blink Twice. Just scared me a bit more. Followed by this top 3. This is a good top 3. But I'm going to keep Alien right there because I think Strange Darling is just a little more creative. They're both great. They both have red posters. But on the awesome tier, Sing Sing. It's a top 10 movie contender, folks. I genuinely believe it is. Coleman Domingo is giving an outstanding performance. The direction is beautiful. It's just a beautiful script. Not the best looking movie I've seen all year, but a beautiful script. That's what moves me. I loved it. An awesome experience. If you get a chance, go see it. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait because the release strategy is crazy. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know. Do you like this background? We're back to the OG background. If you want to go back to the couch, let me know that as well. But I'm kind of digging this setup, so I would love to know your thoughts on that. All right, I'll see you in October. Just kidding. I'll see you probably tomorrow.